54 verses of cursing versus 14 verses of blessing. Now, there's a little bit of a reason for that because we need to fear God. We need to realize the things that we're doing. I'm not in Isaiah at all, though. Huh? No, it wasn't. No, it's all Deuteronomy 28. It'd be 15 through 68. I'm going to read it either way. I don't care if you have it on the screen or not. So I'm going to speak half a second, then I'm going to get to reading because if I can get through this, I think it's important. The book of Deuteronomy is not something we all read very often, so that's kind of where I found some significance in it. I personally believe that, yes, the 28, and like I said, it's 15 through 68, yep. So the importance there, I mean, like I said, there's 14 verses of blessing. There's 14 verses, and we know God does good in our lives every day. But then there's 54 verses of him telling us this is what's going to happen if not. So I think the sake of fearing God is more important than what we necessarily give it all the time. I mean, we're always about the mercy, the grace, the love, the things that God brings forth for us every day, sometimes without us even being deserving of it. But I think every now and then it's good to hear the things that could have happened. So this is obviously, again, a letter from Moses, and Moses gets right into it. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and do all his commandments and statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed should be thou in the city, and cursed shall be thou in the field. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body and the fruit of the land, the increase of kin, I think that's ends up being kin, and kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. Cursed shall thou be when thou comest in, and cursed thou shalt be when going out. The Lord shall send upon thee the cursing, vexation, and rebuke, and all that settest thy hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me. This isn't fun to read, by the way, guys, but I'm still willing to do it, and I'm going to do it. So, the Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee, until he have consumed thee from off the land, whether thou goest to possess it. The Lord gave us the land, he's going to take it away. The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption, and with a fever, and with an inflammation, and with an extreme burning, and with a sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. And thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and thy earth that is under thee shall be iron. The Lord shall make the rain of thy land powder and dust. From heaven shall it come down upon thee until thou be destroyed. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shalt be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth. And thy carcass shall be meat unto the fowls of the air, and unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away. The Lord will smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with the emerods and the scab, and with the itch whereof thou canst not be healed. The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. And thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in the dark, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt only be oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall be saved. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell within. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and thou shalt gather the grapes thereof. Thine ox shall be slain before thy eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thine donkey shall be violently taken away before thy face, and shall not be restored to thee. Thy sheep shall be given unto thy enemies, and thou shalt not have none to rescue them. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with no longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy land. The fruit of thy land and all of thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed alway. So that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see. The Lord shall smite thee in the knees and in the legs with a sore botch that cannot be healed, from the sole of thy foot unto the top of thy head. The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor your fathers have known, and there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone. Thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee. Thou shalt carry much seed out into the field, and thou shalt gather very little in, for the locust shall consume it. Thou shalt plant vineyards and dress them, but thou shalt neither drink of the wine, nor gather the grapes, for the worms shall eat them. For thou shalt have olive trees throughout all thy coast, but thou shalt not anoint thyself with the oil, for thine olive shall cast his fruit. Thou shalt begot sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. And all thy trees and all the fruit of thy land shall the locust consume. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee, in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck, until he hath destroyed thee. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from afar, from the end of the earth, as swift as an eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation fierce continents, which shall not regard the person for the old, nor shall show favor to the young. And he shall eat thy fruit of thy cattle, and the fruit of the land, until thou be destroyed, which also shall not leave thy either corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thy kind, or flocks of thy sheep, until he hath destroyed thee. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates, until thy high and fenced walls come down, wherein thou trustest throughout all the land. And he shall besiege thee in the gates throughout all thy land, which the Lord thy God hath given thee. And thou shalt eat the fruit of thy own body, and the flesh of thy sons and daughters, which the Lord thy God hath given thee, in the siege and in the straitness, wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil towards his brother, and towards the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave, so that he will not give to any of them the flesh of his children whom he shall eat, because he hath nothing left in him, or left him in the siege. And in the straitness wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee at all thy gates, the tender and delicate woman among you, which shall not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil towards her husband of her bosom, and towards her son, and towards her daughter, and toward her young one that cometh out from her between her feet, and toward her children which she shall bear, for she shall eat them for want of all things secretly in siege and straitness, wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee in thy gates. If thou wilt not observe to do the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear the glorious and fearful name, the Lord thy God. Then the Lord will make thy plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed, even great plagues, of long continence, and sore sickness, and of long continence. Moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt which thou hast or thou wast afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. Also every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book of this law, them will the Lord bring upon thee until thou be destroyed. And ye shall be left few in number, whereas ye were as the number of the stars in heaven for multitude, because thou wouldest not obey the voice of the Lord thy God. And it shall come to pass that the Lord rejoiced over you to do so, or over you to do good and to multiply you. So the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring you to naught. And ye shall be plucked from off the land whither thou goest possess it, and the Lord shall scatter thee among all people, and the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have ever known, even wood or stone. And among these nations thou shalt find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but the Lord shall give thee a trembling heart, failing of eyes, and a sorrow of mind. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have none assurance of thy life. In the morning thou shalt say, Would God it were even, and at even thou shalt say, Would God it were morning. For the fear of thine heart wherewith thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man should buy you. All right, so we got through all that. I'm going to give John the mic really quick, but all I'm seeing out of this is we need to continue on with fear and trembling of our God, not because we're afraid of him, but because we reverence what he is to us. He's our creator. He's the one that controls all things. And if we're not willing to give him the, the what? Reverence, thank you, yes. The reverence of what he actually is doing in our lives and in our world around us, we're going to end up in situations that we shouldn't be living in. So we need to stay in repentance. I'll always say that because it's very true. We need to be willing to speak of what we're not doing correctly, because these people weren't doing correctly, and Moses wanted to make a point of saying, hey, this is where we're heading if we can't get things corrected. Do I feel that we're here? No, and I'm not here to beat you guys up, but I think it's good to have this fresh in our mind for the fact that we want to stay as far away as possible.